This is Akash, and welcome to my YouTube channel CloudyML. So today with us we have Sahaj Harnal. So he is someone from automotive background. He did his BTech, completed his BTech in 2011 in automotive, and from there his journey has been incredible. And today he is working as a data scientist. So we will hear from him the entire journey and what are the struggles he has faced, and few tips for you people to make similar transitions. So Harnal, Sahaj, up to you. You can give your brief introduction at length about your entire journey. Then we'll go to question answers. And before that, I would like to tell you small achievement of Sahaj. So he cracked GATE in 2 months of preparation with a 98 percentile marks. So you can understand the IQ and the intelligence level of Sahaj. Okay, we can start.
Thank you for the nice introduction. In fact, I forgot that I cracked GATE in 2 months. I mean, I did mention it somewhere. I don't know how. From where did
Yes,
you
on
pick
your
it up?
LinkedIn. I just read it on your LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So it's been a very bumpy ride for sure for me. So I'll give you a glimpse of it, uh, and I will start from my school days. I loved maths and computer science back then. I was topper in both. In fact, I have a trophy for scoring highest in computer science in 12th. But I wasn't good in other subjects and ended up scoring low in EIEEE. And let's not even talk about JE. I ended up like most of the people. I also ended up doing bachelor's in automobile engineering, which I didn't like. Later, master's from NIT Surathkal, of course, after cracking GATE in 2 months, like Akash mentioned. Uh, and it was in manufacturing engineering. And then I landed a job in Volvo. I worked in the supply chain and logistics domain for around 4 years there. And while I was working on one of the problems to predict the logistic cost, so we were like building an Excel tool with hard coded formulas to just predict the logistic cost. And while we were discussing about that problem, I ended up hearing the word called statistical modeling. And
Mhm.
that was the first time I encountered with this term, data science, machine learning, statistical modeling, and all these things. Uh, the path was clear. I was supposed to walk that path, but life has its own plans. My friend and batchmate from NIT, he was also working with Volvo, came up with a brilliant idea of marrying psychology with education. So I ended up leaving that high paying job and started my own company, which was a mix of psychology and education. We wanted to grow the children on their life skills instead of
Mhm.
the technical skills that are already taught in the schools. Um, and we did struggle for 2.5 years. It didn't go well, and I couldn't survive more. Took the decision to move away. Struggled for another 5 months to land a job. After closing the company, and I was back to logistics department. In parallel, I was also I started doing a course and in data science. It was basically a PGP in data science. Just to get a certification because I already had a background in that. So I completed that course within a year. Just search for job, and now I'm here working as a data scientist at Aryng. So it's been a beautiful journey till
That's great. So so what was your expectation? What kind of work you would be getting in data science field? And what do you see? Is there any difference? The kind of work you expected, okay, data science would pose challenge like this kind of things I would doing. And in reality, I'm doing this kind of stuff.
now. Yeah, of course. So like any other person who has just come into the field of data science, I also thought that I'll be building some fancy models right from the beginning and doing
Mhm.
some magical stuff like predicting something which does not even exist, which people don't even know right now, from with the power of data science. But as you all know, the that's far from reality. So as soon as I realized that, I actually soon realized that building model is a very small part of data science. Data science is about understanding the business question, defining the right hypotheses, acquiring the data from different sources, cleaning it, validating it, uh, verifying the hypotheses, data transformation, manipulation, feature engineering, and between all this, keeping the stakeholders engaged and keeping the timelines in mind. The list is so long. I mean, it's too long. In most of the cases, you won't even require a fancy model to solve a business problem, and that's the reality of data science. Data science is not about building models or statistics. It's about solving a business problem using data and the tools available to you.
Correct. Yes. So, like, you are from background like automotive, and you did MTech in
Manufacturing.
manufacturing. Okay. So, shifting the career from there, obviously, you got a chance to do similar kind of project in Volvo, as I said, right, where you were using analytics, but the role was not similar to that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
how hard it was for you to convince the recruiters that officially you are not a data scientist? Maybe you're doing a work of a data scientist in some company, but officially you're not a data scientist. How hard it was for you to convince the recruiters or HR, please give me a chance that I know data science. They will see you. I see that you are from different background. How come you can become a data scientist? So what was that?
Yeah, I think that's also something. So I will talk in general about the experience that I had while switching this career. Basically, I would
Mhm.
call a switching of the career because I started my own company and then worked for another company, and then finally ended up with having the role that I wanted, data scientist.
Mhm.
Uh,
Correct.
so to start with, uh, and no, I would honestly tell, not being from computer science background does have its side effects, a lot of side effects. Even though you perform flawlessly in the interviews, still some of the hiring managers, they gave lame excuses. I have heard feedbacks like, Sage, you have excellent data science skills, but I was looking for someone who has computer science background. Another one was like, you are great, but you lack domain experience. One more, like, you don't seem to have enough experience in data science field. And I was like, um I received such feedbacks for a very long time after even answering the questions flawlessly. But but with every feedback that I received, I changed my resume to highlight my experience better, and I prepared better for the interviews. So before I joined Aryng, I remember I failed in first four interviews. I learned from each of them and later cracked four interviews continuously, grabbing four different offers. And I got a 120% hike with, of course, many additional benefits. Yeah, so that's the experience that I had. It's been tough, but it is doable. You just need to stick with it.
So the main point here is that you need to mold your resume in such a way that it's more appealing to the interviewers, right? So the way you told you failed in interviews, you improve the resume
Yeah, right. I mean, you need to highlight your skills better in your resume.
better.
And failure is just a part of the process. You need to learn from that, pick up the things, implement those things, and then move on. That's it. It's as simple as that. It looks simple. It is stressful, but it is doable.
Yeah. So what do you think after attending so many interviews, that what is that one thing that recruiters are looking very much in a data scientist?
Uh, I think, see, right now we have so many courses. Everyone, I mean, there are so many courses available in online. People can get data science skills. That is that is a requirement for sure. But apart from that, there are some non-technical skills that the recruiters are basically looking for, and so I mean, the some of the skills like the non-technical skills are much more important than your technical skills, and uh, these includes in the logical and soft skills. The logical skills are like problem solving, ability to identify patterns, and of course your mathematics, probability, linear algebra, and statistics. And the soft skills that they are looking for is communication, stakeholder management, and presentation. Without these skills, it is hard to crack any interview and succeed in the job as well. So, yeah.
So how are these skills tested during the interviews? Like you said, the soft skills, right? How would someone test your logical skills to say in the interview?
So, the thing is, in the interviews, they work on use cases. So,
Mhm.
they will give you a use case. You need to identify how to solve that use case. And it's not just about solving that use case logically, it's also about how you present your answer. So, use case, your logical skills to solve it, and presenting that solution. That's how it is tested in the interviews. At least for
Mhm.
me, I experienced that.
Okay. And which platform do you think gave you the most number of interview calls?
I think I got most calls from LinkedIn. Uh, uh, no, not LinkedIn. Yeah, Naukri.com. You will get lot of calls from Naukri.com. Apart from that, LinkedIn also is a great platform for connecting with the recruiters directly. Uh, but my I got only one connection from imjobs.com.
Mhm.
And the recruiter from Aryng connected with me at that time, and then I was finally selected there at Aryng. That was the only one I got from IIM. And luckily, that was the one where I am here.
Oh, wow. So do you think, what do you think about any specific thing you need to keep in mind while making profile? Okay, resume is one thing, you need to make it nicely, but on this profile also you need to do something extra, something you need to keep in mind so that your profiles are at top whenever recruiter searches for you.
I think you need to have. I think you need to have a better format. The resume format should be small, precise, concise, and it should highlight your skills. That's it. I mean, you should just remove all the noise and only focus on the things that you need. The recruiter is asking for. So, not think from your perspective. Think from the recruiter's perspective. Who he or she is looking for, and mold your resume accordingly. And of course, another important thing is when you create your resume and you upload your resume to various job portals, it is important to follow up. Basically, in case you applied for some job or you connected with some recruiter, keep following with them until and unless you get a no from them. You need to get a no from them at least. So that is important in your job search.
Yeah, that's a great tip. So this when you're applying for different companies, so how many companies like in total you gave interviews? I have to ask like different. So do you also while applying see which kind of company is this? Like is it from automotive domain or manufacturing domain, or you just apply to all the companies, be it healthcare or service-based companies or whatever?
Yeah, so that's a good question. To which companies you apply for? I think for applying for any company, it is first important to understand what are the different data roles that are available, like data scientists, data analysts, data engineers, and then depending on the skills, you pick one of them and stick with it. That's the first step, first thing. Then you need to practice only the skills you are confident about. Say like, and you don't have to master every skill. Say you want to apply for a data scientist role, you're not confident about unstructured data like speech or text, then don't
Mm-hmm.
waste time learning that. Just stick to the structured data, learn the techniques applicable for the structured data. That's it. And if you're selected for the interview, first ask them for a JD. I mean, research about the company, think about the problem that the company might be facing, and how you can use your skills to solve that problem. Regarding the domain, of course, you need to also have interest in the domain. If you have experience in one particular domain and you are trying to switch to a data science field, please try to pick that domain, because that is where your chances are high to get recruited. And of course, there is another thing, like if you are asked to explain your project, start with a problem statement. That problem statement, if you know about that domain, you will know about the problem statement, and you will be able to explain better explain better the problem statement. And of course, don't mention anything that you are not confident about. It's okay to say you don't know instead of faking it. And lastly, it is perfectly all right to get rejected. Accept, learn, and move on.
Okay. So you mentioned about focusing on JD. So did it ever happen like based on a JD, you prepared a resume? Okay, for this JD, let me put these points. Okay, for this kind of JD, I have to put these points in my resume. Something like that.
Yes, of course. I mean, while I was applying for the job uh, before I joined Aryng, I remember I prepared more than 100 different resumes.
Oh my God,
I had
that's a
applied for
huge number.
500 different jobs. Of course, you need to apply a lot. Yeah, I think it was combined while I was switching from my own company, closed my own company, and after that, I landed a job. Between that time, also, I prepared a huge number of resumes. So, for every job description, I tried to mold that resume, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So I learned. So it's test and learn. I tested that. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it did not work. I did something else, but later on I was able to understand that I need only 3 4 resumes which I can generalize and use it for different kind of roles and domains that I'm applying to. So in the end, I was able to narrow down to 5 resumes. But you need to do a lot of iterations for sure.
Great, great. Now let's come to your learning experience. So I would like you to share with us your roadmap, the roadmap you followed. Like firstly, you learned Python, just giving an example. Then you learned this topic, then you did some projects, then you do this, something like that.
Okay. So, I mean, first of all, first of all, if you are applying for a data scientist role or analyst role or whatever role, the first thing is you need to have an interest in that field. If you have the interest, if you have that passion for learning, you will be able to do it. So first step, passion. The second is basically if you are applying, if you figure out that, okay, data science or analytics is my field, then you need to start learning mathematics. Start with statistics, start with linear algebra. Um, uh, so learn that. I mean, that is important. That is very important. Everyone is talking about that. People say that machine learning models do it by itself. It's not that case. It's not the case in reality, because now everyone is not looking for a model that will just predict something. People are also looking for explainable models, and
Correct.
for having explainable, to be able to explain the models, you need to know the mathematics behind that. So second
Mhm.
step is learning mathematics, and then comes your programming. And even before programming, you need to be very strong in logic. Build the logic. It's not about a programming is like just like a language. Say your English language. Your English language, Hindi language, or any other regional language that you speak is not important. The important is, are you able to build the thing that, I mean, if you want to communicate, are you able to think about that? Are you able to create that words? Are you able to create that sentence? So if you are able to create that sentence, if you are able to create that logic, language doesn't matter. So you can execute it using any language. So
Mhm.
uh, before your language, you learn the logic, and then you learn your language. You can pick R, you can pick Python. People are looking for roles in Python, and are mostly people use Python a lot. I've just learned Python, and then you need to learn one of the visualization tools for a data scientist role. And the third thing which I really missed during my whole career was SQL. So SQL is extremely important whether you are applying for an analyst role, data scientist role,
Exactly.
or a data engineer role, whatever. Yeah.
Great, great, great. Yeah. So tell me something about the kind of work currently you are doing in the current company. So what are the tech stacks you're using or the kind of business problem you're solving? So we get an idea like what the real and also your day-to-day responsibilities, right? Like uh, for example, if a software developer is there, so he will tell every I will get that task and I will have meetings, then I will do some coding. I will try to suppose there is a UI designer, he will design that UI and all those things. But as a data scientist, there are a variety of things on your plate in a day. So what are those?
Right. So I'll start with the problem that I'm currently working on. So for one of the clients, I'm working on creating a single source of truth.
Mhm.
So I mean, let me explain it with an example. Say you want to purchase clothes for yourself. You go to a market where you find a line of many shops selling branded clothes. Now
Mhm.
you will not know which shop sells the best quality, which shop is the cheapest, which shop provide you the best experience. And similar situations happens for startups that produce huge amount of data every day. So
Mhm.
they will have multiple sources for acquiring the data, and for every metric, and many will have incomplete data or incomplete definitions. So before you start using the data for any of your analytics or data science projects, you need to have that single source of truth for every metric. So I'm currently working on such a problem of defining the single source of truth that directly affects the revenue of the company. So my daily role is right now. You will most of the time you will find me executing, creating, writing, and executing never-ending SQL queries. And in addition to that, in addition to the, I mean, there is a long list that we need to be doing, like I said, about acquiring the data, validating the hypotheses, feature engineering, all those things. Apart from that long list, every day I encounter a different problem. And so it's a new problem and a new learning every day that is happening for me. And in the middle of all these technical things, it is always important to have regular meetings with the stakeholders. So every day I'm meeting. I'm in Zoom call a lot of time.
Okay. What's your favorite algorithm? Like machine learning algorithm? Like some problem because okay, first try this algorithm, then we'll see.
I mean, I love decision trees a lot because they are more explainable. So I start with a decision tree and the random forest. I usually apply them for any or every data set. But of course, once you look at the data, you will be able to understand, like, I mean, start exploring the data. Also, you will be able to understand which algorithm will fit in, which algorithm might not fit in. You will have that intuition and then start using that algorithm. But for me, my favorite is random forest. I usually use it for any data
So
science program.
lot of times in interviews we are asked like how will you decide the algorithm, so what should be the answer, like in general what we tend to do, we try different algorithm and see which is giving the better performance. So what's your take on this?
So I think There are two ways in which you can answer. First of all, of course, data science is not something which is hardcore. It is experimentation. And you most of the times you will test, you will fail, you will test again, and you will fail again, and you need to try out many algorithms on the same data set. You It cannot be generalized for sure, but as you start practicing a lot, as you start building more models, as you start working with different kinds of data set, you will get an intuition of which data set for which data set, which kind of machine learning algorithm will work the most. Like, for example, like I will tell you, if you have a very sparse data set, I usually find that gradient boosting works much better than any other algorithm. So
Okay.
it's kind of, you will get that intuition when you start working on some of the data sets, and of course, if it is not very sparse, but it is it is imbalanced data set, I have generally found that the random forest works very good with such data sets, and it is at par with the gradient boosting. So you don't have to get into complex machine learning algorithms. You don't have to get to the neural networks. Your random forest can solve your problem. In fact, it also depends on the problem state that you are trying to solve. So you need to have that conversation with your stakeholders. What exactly that they want from that model? Are they looking for accuracy? Are they looking for explainable models? If they are looking for explainable models, let's use a very simple model like linear regression, logistic regression, or decision trees. So that's how you select your models, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So, would you like to talk about the salaries? This is very data science is very hot topic. People think that money starts flowing when you get into this field. So, would you like to put some light on this? What different experienced people, different range of experience will get different range of salaries? Because you have given through so many interviews, and also you are taking so many interviews, right? So you might have an idea.
Yeah, data science is a very hot field. And as I say, it is a very hot field as people are switching into it. I also do believe that it is not for everybody. You need to have that passion for data science. You need to learn a lot every day, and the learning will never stop. But if you are skilled, if you know the data science concepts well, if you know the mathematics behind that, I think I've seen candidates with 3 to 4 years of experience asking for even more than 25 LPA. So uh, it has money, but you need to have those skills for sure.
Great, great, great. Okay. So one last question. No, two last questions. So,
Yeah.
so given a chance to go back to your college, end of your college, what would you like to do differently uh, so that you ended, so that you would be able to pursue your dream of becoming a data scientist in a better way?
Yeah, that's a really nice question. I keep thinking about this a lot of times. I keep thinking that, of course, if I had stick to the field of computer science, I would have done much better, because I know that I was good at logic back then. I
Mhm.
topped computer science in my school, and I was really appreciated in my school, of course. Uh, the thing that I want, maybe I won't change it, because I have learned a lot through my experience. It's been a very fascinating journey. I learned a lot during this journey. Not the technical part is just 10%. I've learned a lot from my life, but I think that I am at the right place. And one thing that I would want to do is I want to identify my passion. I have identified my passion. I'll stick to that. But if I had got a chance to go back, I would have stick to my passion, what I am interested in. No matter which college I get, uh, I selected college over my field. So no matter which college I get, I would have joined any computer science field in any computer science college, and it need not be engineering. You don't have to be an engineer to get to this field of computer science. So that is something which I had.
Okay. So last piece of advice for our viewers who are pursuing this field, who have the dream to become a data scientist. Someone who has just started, or someone is in middle, or someone is from a very different background, or someone from computer science. For everyone, like last piece of advice, what would you like to do?
So yeah, I've been talking about passion a lot, which is essential for data science or any other field that you are working on. If you have that, no one can stop you from entering in any field. The second thing is set very small goals and keep learning every day. If you keep doing that every day without thinking about the outcomes, I'm sure you will be able to crack that.
Great, great. So, Saj, that this comes to the end of our podcast. I must say it was a wonderful discussion. I also got to learn so many things from you, and you gave very wonderful answers. Like this will help our learners a lot who are trying to become a data scientist. So, I thank you very much for joining us. And to all of you who are watching this podcast, thank you for listening till the end. And if you like this podcast, please hit the like button and do hit the subscribe button. And if you're someone who wish to become a podcast, do a podcast with me, you can fill the Google form given in description. And if you want to connect with Sahaj, I will include the LinkedIn profile. I hope Sahaj you don't mind people
Yeah, sure.
reaching out.
Please. I would love to connect with people. I would love to know their experience. And in case someone wants help, I would love to help them.
So I'll put his profile in the description section. Do reach out to him. And yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Sahaj. Bye bye.